of Temple Street and Spring Street in downtown Los Angeles, where Black Lives Matter protesters have gathered to protest the news about Breonna Taylor that came out of Louisville, Kentucky just today. For months, protesters have been demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, who was a young woman who was killed in her home in Louisville, Kentucky in March of this year. And today we learned that a grand jury would not be indicting police officers for the killing of Breonna Taylor. Instead, they would be indicting one police officer for one single count of endangering a neighbor. So naturally, this has caused a great deal of anger within the community, and for people who are demanding justice for racial killings of people of color in the United States and excessive uses of police force. Where are people meeting, Alex? We're here in downtown Los Angeles, on the corner of Spring Street and Temple Street, right in front of Jackie Lacey, LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey's office. There are weekly protests that happen here every single week, and this particular gathering is particularly heightened because of the news today about Breonna Taylor. There's a heavy police presence closing off the streets surrounding the area, and there are speakers. We'll go in a little closer and see what's going on.
That's been fighting against racism since the Civil Rights Movement, even now. And I have a magazine in my car. Yeah. Well, anyway, they have a new book out. Well, I got maybe next week.
We got a hello from Branson. Hi, Heath from Branson. Wayne Bruner is asking how it's going. It is a peaceful protest. A lot of people are gathered to demand justice for Breonna Taylor. And we're hearing from some speakers. There is a heavy police presence, but everybody here is extremely peaceful. So these are protests that are happening every single week outside of LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey's office here in downtown Los Angeles. Of course, she's up for election in November, and her opponent is George Gascon, a progressive, who's running to unseat her, and citing as part of the reason her failures to indict police officers who have been engaged in police brutality or the murders of people of color. Wayne Bruner says he's watching from London. Kentucky, Louisville is getting ripe right now. Yes, this is in Los Angeles, but we are aware that the protests in Louisville, Kentucky are very, very heated right now, and probably with good reason. I think that the inability of this grand jury in Louisville, Kentucky, to indict the police officers responsible for Breonna Taylor's death is just another example for the Black Lives Matter community and for allies that there is not racial justice in the United States, and that people of color are disproportionately affected by police violence. So we have a lot of people here in support of the movement, and we'll just go in a little closer and see what's going on.
Okay. The name of the book is The Civil Rights, and you can get a 30% discount from the University of Wisconsin Press at this website. The website is t-t.site/crm-book. The Civil Rights Movement book. t-t.site/crm book, and that's the Understanding and Teaching the Civil Rights Movement book. And I'm an activist for the last several years, also with Los Angeles community activists, Steve White. They are advocates for the homeless and Skid Row. More and more people are becoming homeless under this system. And the whole system was to criminalize the homeless. And Pete White and Los Angeles Community Action Center, they fought City Hall against criminalizing. The police used to go down Skid Row and criminalize the black homeless. There's more black homeless people than ever in the world. Since the 1619, when slavery started, the movement for trade of slaves for profit started. And capitalism got a new train of thought. There's a lot of let me come back with Mr. K.
So if you are just joining us, we are outside of Spring Street and Temple Street in downtown Los Angeles, where protests are going on outside of LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey's office here in downtown Los Angeles. Black Lives Matter protesters and allies are here to protest the news out of Louisville, Kentucky tonight. That the police officers who were responsible for Breonna Taylor's killing this March have not been indicted for murder. One officer has been indicted on one charge of endangering a neighbor. So protesters are here. It's a very peaceful protest, but there is a heavy police presence. There are more people filtering in. There are speakers who are speaking. Lots of signs demanding justice, a lot of signs talking about justice for Breonna Taylor. There are a few signs talking about defund the police. As we know, that's been a popular refrain of this movement, which is, of course, not an abolitionist movement. Something that people should understand is not talking about abolishing police altogether. It's about redistributing funds from police departments and reallocating them to social-based services to tackle issues like homelessness, drug and alcohol rehabilitation, and other social services. So people are filtering in, very peaceful protests, and the news out of Louisville, Kentucky tonight is, of course, very saddening for everybody here who's demanding racial justice. We got some comments: no justice, no peace. So another comment asking, who is she? We're talking about Breonna Taylor, the young woman who was murdered by police in Louisville, Kentucky, in March of this year, and has been a popular refrain of this movement for many, many months. Justice for Breonna Taylor, and of course tonight we learned that there will be no justice for Breonna Taylor, and we're here to check out these protests here in downtown Los Angeles.
The Supreme Court justice is at the line between and those who forfeit a part of who they are to assimilation to the system of journalism. They did not decide. And the thing that you are feeling now, this contradiction within us, is that we